legs, and if you've got a drink, please throw it on the bed. Now what I want you to do, I want you to stand on your legs. If you've got a stronger leg, stand on that, okay? Then I want you to reach out your arm. That's it. Now bring one up again. Have a good one. But it looks stupid, it's all fine. Yeah. So your arm, your shoulder, you can take the one off the nose of the two. Now, if it needs just a little bit easier. Okay? Thank you very much. So today is demo night. It's a very important part of every month for us. It happens on the second Wednesday of every month in London.
Hello?
And this year we're doing 19 demo nights in London, Lisbon, and Cornwall. Hands up for Cornwall. So what is the point of demo night? It is that if you're a startup founder and you're in the first 3 years, you are incredibly likely to fail. Like more than 90% likely to fail. Which means you, like I, are the dumbass for doing what you're doing. Okay? I've done startup 9 times, and I'm incredibly dumb. Because every 9 times, every time tonight, I was expected to fail. I really succeeded well in 4, but I had a couple of winning failures. So this rule exists to solve the biggest problem that the stupid people have, which is we are geniuses in our own minds, and we decide to build something that nobody else understands. And because nobody else understands, they don't pay any money for it. We build something that they don't want or need. In this room, that problem goes away because of you. You ask the questions, give the feedback, the insights like, dude, that's like brilliant, but I'm your target customer, and it's blue and it's purple, I'd buy it, but blue sucks. That's the kind of feedback that needs to come up there. That's a brilliant idea, but I do that on Google Drive and I don't need it. That's the kind of feedback that needs to come up there. Well, that's a brilliant idea, and I can help you, and I'm going to help introduce you to something tomorrow to give you a new customer or a bit of advice or an actual piece of investment. That's what this room is for. It's not to stand up here like Rob will do in a minute and say, I have bought them. This is not pitch night. It's not Rob's night. It's demo night. So you're going to get a couple of slides about why this and why us and why now. And then you're going to see a product and you're going to experience the product and then you're going to give it. Make sense? Okay. There's a click thing. All right. It's Valentine's Day coming up. So there's a 50% discount. But if you're already a member of Space or Venture Space, you can join them free. Just need to talk to Albert or Ralph, and they will give me your details, and we will put you into the platform search information as part of being part of the space. Okay? But if you're not in that category, you're welcome to stay upstairs 50% off. Next slide. Now, at the top of this page is a code. If you go to mentor.com, this is an event where you can play with your phone all evening. Okay? So go to mentor.com, stick in that code, and during the course of the evening, you can vote, you can ask questions. So if you don't feel like putting your hand up, you can put a question into here, and it might get asked or get asked afterwards. And to start things off, go in and stick some words in that you associate with startups. You should see it all. Now, the other thing that I should remind you of, in case nobody told you on the way here, is that you are all very scary people. Especially you, who've got a French word into the middle of this. It's very scary. Okay? And when you stand here on stage, as Francis will do in a minute, as Francis will do in a minute, it's actually quite cool. So you need to give some real love when you get up there, because the more you want them to be here, the more Edmund feels your smiles, the more you're going to get from it. Okay? The two people who are going to help you do that are Polly and Jan. They're in charge of the evening. Once they step off of there, anything they say, just stay away. Okay? And if they're running real fast, that means it's a fire in the okay. This lady kind of summarizes the real spirit of demo. When you stand here and you tell people stuff, it changes you. When you ask me a question, it changes me. By asking me a question, it changes you. And by you watching him asking questions and me answer it, it changes you. That's why we built this. That's why we've done this for over 10 years, from where we started in something like Massachusetts to where we stand. Okay. Then when I 5 minutes to demo, very few slides, lots of other stuff, 5 minutes Q&A, lots of dialogue. Give them a hard time, give them some support, whatever you need to do. But if you're an asshole about it, we're going to stop doing this. That's not this work. Okay? Those pitch places where VCs stand up here and shellac other people, that is not this work. If you're that person, it's nice to have you here. Let's go away. content. And if Diana's looking at you with work, you're in trouble. Brilliant.
Full stop. A minute, these people that find a seat.
Please.
There's some seats in here. There's one seat. There's one seat there. Welcome aboard.
All right, plenty of pizza in the breaks. Let's see how this goes. I think that's everything. Okay, try the cafe thing. Let's see if this works. Okay, Francis is going to be here in a minute. Let's see how much love you got, Francis. Okay?
Let's see if this works. Ooh, this works. Hello. Good evening, everyone. I'm going to stand here because, right? Anyway, so myself and Polly were co-hosting this event. And thank you all so much for coming. I do see similar faces that have been here before. Thank you all so much for coming. And thank you all so much for the new faces that are here with us today. We really love having you on board. So again, we are the timekeepers. We're the bad guys. So essentially you have 5 minutes to present your idea and you have 5 minutes to do the Q&A. And if you're over that, we will clap you gently off. So just as you know. And in essence, as well, we want to have your feedback. So again, this is a very interactive session, not just by speaking, but also we have the Mentimeters. So we will ask you a couple of questions, so please also participate there. And then over to you, Pauline.
Thank you. Do we have any teachers here? Well, they were here. Oh, there's no one. Hello. They were here. I'm sure that they'd rather be actually training our young minds and grading papers. So this is what our first founder and CEO is going to talk about. Snapgrade, Francis.
So give him a round of applause, guys.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Hi everyone, so my name is Francis. Hi everyone, so my name is Francis, ex-science teacher, PhD researcher at the moment, and I'm the founder of Snapgrade, our patent-pending AI marking technology that greatly cuts down the amount of time teachers spend marking. So rather than them spending like 30 minutes grading a single essay, they can mark it consistently in only 3 seconds. Just before we start, I'm asking for about 200K because that's how much SEIS we have left. And the funds are basically used for R&D expenses, general OPEX, and also sales and marketing. So now that we've got all the boring stuff out of the way, let's go into the main reason about why this is being made. So let's look at that picture on the left. You can see me second row from the top. Those are me and all the people who were training to become teachers back in 2018. Look how fresh-faced and excited we were all to become teachers. We all want to become teachers because we want to try and help young people do better in society. However, how many of these people do you think are still teachers? Ooh, even less than that. Some people said 8, some people said 5, 2. Out of that entire group, only 2 people are still teachers. However, according to loads of teaching unions and also schools as well, the primary reason why people do leave the teaching profession is basically there's too much marking. We try and spend time teaching, but no, we have to spend nearly about 10, 12 hours a week just marking essays, assignments, and tests, etc. And that's why we kind of leave the profession. So what I basically developed was a patent-pending AI marking technology. So basically what happens, the student does their physical work, they can type it on the computer, they can write it on a piece of paper, they just scan the physical handwritten work with their phone, and then they get automatic diagnostic feedback straight towards their phone. And then the teacher doesn't even need to actually spend time marking because it's already been marked through the power of our patent-pending AI-based technology platform. So, just try and talk about the people within the team. There's me, experienced science teacher and school leader, doing my PhD right now in EdTech at Brunel. And on our main C-suite at the moment is our CFO. She exited her own management and tech consultancy company a few years ago in a multi-million-pound exit. And she just wants to try and fix the education system because she's passionate about it. Graham is our fractional CTO, exited lots of tech companies in the 90s and the early 2000s. His kids' schools were asking for solutions towards assessment, realized that our software lines up with what his kids' schools were asking for, and decided to join along. And then we also got some other advisors as well. So we've got stuff like Federico, who's an AI Brunel, Andy, who used to basically be the head of like science psychology stuff at Pearson's, Ashley, founder of like Brunel's AI Research Center, and Anish, who is our primary software engineer. So if we start talking about why we need to do this now, it's because currently schools all around the world and universities as well are demanding for quicker marking solutions. So if we start doing calculations based on the number of students available with a low revenue of £5 per kid, the TAM, SAM, and SOM are all pretty good. So if any of you are interested in basically investing in edtech software as well, we're entering closed beta with multiple schools next week. Everything is completely working, and we're going to be launching a pilot program with a rather sizable multi-academy trust in the next couple of weeks. Feel free to reach out to me afterwards, and I'll be more than happy to give you a live demo to prove how it all completely works. Thank you.
Well done, well done. So the first question will go to the panelists, but before I'm going to give you the word tour, I would like to ask the panelists to stand up and quickly just do a very quick introduction about themselves and who they are.
I'll go first. Cool. Hi, I'm Alex Steven. I'm a final year finance and machine learning student at Bayes Business School. Honestly, I find it great that Stuart included a Gen Z. I think it's way more inclusive that way, especially for ideas like this. It really does relate to me, right? Yeah, so my experience is 7 months in private equity at Greystar. I did a year of front-end engineering at Amazon, and kind of recently finished off at Sysri doing financial data analytics. So this whole realm of AI and automation really does speak to me, and yeah, I'm grateful for Stuart to invite me here. Very good.
Hi, good to meet you all. I'm not Gen Z. My name's Tor. I am an executive in residence for product at Quality Capital. My background is very much in product management. I moved to product worlds at Google a long time ago. Then met Stuart while I was CPO at Crowdcube, which is a government-based fintech. And then spent 4 years as a VP of product at Miro in Amsterdam. Recently moved back to the UK and joined Gorton, who are, if you're not aware, a London-based VC firm that invests primarily in European tech startups. I should stress that I'm not on the investment team. I repeat, I'm not on the investment team. My role is to provide advisory and coaching support to companies in portfolio on product-related topics. So, it's you.
Thank you, Tor. Christina.
Ladies first. Hi, my name is Christina. I'm initially an architect, and I'm one of the ambassadors of the Canopy community. I have been dabbling in startups for quite a few years, so I have been in the trenches a few times, including technology, and let's just say it's on pause at the moment. And I guess I represent the millennials.
We got it covered.
And last but not least, Donald. Come on.
Hi everyone, I'm Donald. I'm working at corporate scale-up within Hitachi, focused on e-mobility software for commercial fleets, helping them to electrify. I worked 2 years in corporate strategy and also in strategy consulting. That's me.
Thank you. So the first question goes to Tor about the current presentation.
Great. My question is, how do parents feel? It feels like a Daily Mail article waiting to
So that's the reason why we do have a lot of academic advisors on board who are experts in regard to AI, because the major thing about it is that you need guardrails in place, because especially when it comes to AI, hallucination will result in a bad PR nightmare. That's why we've made sure that our entire software has so many guardrails in place as well to prevent for any potential hallucinations that may potentially cause issues. However, we are always aware that AI is never perfect, even if we implement as many safety features and guardrails as possible, which is the reason why that we introduced loads of options for editing and human verification before things get submitted. I can always give you like a demo of it afterwards to like show you how human intervention can be involved in the automation process to stop stuff like that from happening.
We have one more question out there.
Cool.
How does it affect the variety already in the market and how affordable is it to buy it?
So the radar tech varies from the tech currently on the market. So we focus more on open-ended questions, but also giving teachers the option to go into full automation, but also AI human assistance. We don't give them like an exclusive path to follow. We give them multiple ways and where they can streamline up their marketing. And in regards to how affordable it is for schools to buy into, how to describe it, the amount of time that each teacher will save will be much, much cheaper than for them to hire new teachers and train them all over again. So that's our main way of just emphasizing the cost model. It's just like, you're going to have a higher chance of retaining teachers if you reduce most of their marketing, rather than you going through a constant churn rate of hiring, training, hiring, training.
Any questions from the crowd?
Yep, you get a hand up at the back.
Very bit of a chat, but how do you incorporate the teachers' different marketing schemes into the app? So depending on which grade you're teaching or something.
So that's all part of our user flow, where we do allow the teachers to basically input those basic parameters at the start to ensure that the relevant guardrails are in place, that the rubrics that are generated will align up with that particular exam board and year group requirements. But also, as I told him earlier, I'll be more than happy to give you like an absolute live demo afterwards to show you how it all works in person.
One more question from there.
Yep.
A lot of students are increasingly using AI to essentially cheat their homework.
Yeah.
How can your AI check for the use of AI work?
That's actually a really funny question. So that's why we give multiple ways for students to submit their work. They can either type it directly into the app itself, scan their physical work, or scan the typed out work. However, the whole thing about students basically utilizing AI to basically cheat on their work is an issue that's prevalent across the entire education system at the moment, even at a university level. So that is a question that I would be unable to answer because that seems to be more of a policy issue at the moment that we are currently not equipped to really be involved in. Yep.
What's your pricing model? You said £5 per student, but if you're marking essays, that's going to eat up a lot of credits.
See, that's
with AI.
See, that's the fun part about it. Even though we're unoptimized at the moment, it only costs us like 0.02p to basically mark an entire essay. That includes the AI staff, text extraction, and also the AWS services as well. And also regarding monetization, that is something that we need to discuss with my CFO and CTO in detail, because we've kind of been like cramming for the last couple of weeks to get our software ready for the beta in the next couple of days. Yep.
Yeah. How do you control or account for AI bias? So I've used AI to mark my work against parameters, like you say, or mark scheme, right? And sometimes I make really good points, but because of the parameters inputted, I'm not going to get the grade that I should get, right? So that's a bit unfair on my side. So how do you account for that?
So that's something that I will also demo to you later as well. But basically, at the start of the process, the teacher creates their own customized marking rubric to ensure that the work that the software is marking is completely kept consistent across all the students being marked. So what happens? They create a marking rubric to ensure full consistency throughout. However, because we only had 4 slides for this, I didn't have enough space to show to you. But if like you, and also you just like to talk afterwards, I'm just giving like a full demo together and then you try out first. So that's probably the best way.
One last question from this gentleman.
What if a teacher is not, he doesn't agree with the marking? What's happening? So, underwrite it or machine learning?
Could you repeat the question?
So, what if I'm the teacher and see that the score I'm not, don't agree with the AI?
Okay, so you think that's like, if it's not accurate to like how the teacher would actually mark it as well. So that's why we are in a constant loop of in-context learning, because AI itself is never perfect. Though from a lot of our current preliminary tests, we are within 98% accuracy, but that's why we're also stressing the importance of a really wide closed beta, so we can start trying to assess how accurate it would be. So we did a few presentations earlier today, to investors of One, Two, and Multi-Academy Trust. And through doing a lot of testing, we noticed that it was quite close, but there were a few small little issues. But those are now being recorded so we can remove it out for the full commercial release.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. So, thank you. So please do be interactive, and I'm sure there's a lot more questions. So please do pick his brain right after the demo. So the next one, I mean, it's always very important to connect the founders to the investors. So Rob, you come up and tell us more about it.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Stuart, for the invitation. Not where you are, but thanks. Awesome community you've built. So my name is Rob. I'm co-founder and CEO of a company called Scribe. So we do insight private companies and privately held data. So I'll explain a bit more about that. But in terms of kind of why I'm stood here, so I spent a career in banking for 7 years before starting Scribe, and I just got super frustrated with some of the technology that we were using and thought, you know, a lot of this can be automated. So what do? We help founders find angel investors with data. What are the problems here? So raising from angel investors is particularly hard for first-time founders, right? They're learning as they go. A few reasons for that. Firstly, you know, the famous angel investors are overloaded with decks. It's often a numbers game. You've got to kiss a lot of frogs, find people that align with your vision on your business. Fundraising is super competitive. You know, it's competition for capital. Small networks, you know, you might not know that many people if you're a founder, and also a lack of sales experience too. So we built a platform that scrapes in real time companies' house data to figure out who's actually investing into startups in the UK. So we built, so this is investments in the same industry. So it allows founders to be super targeted on the kind of investors that they want to speak to. This data hasn't really been made available to founders before. Like this is a real game changer. I'm going to give you a proper demo of the platform shortly, but in terms of the team, so I'm co-founded alongside my co-founder Emmanuel, who has a PhD in AI. So that's all technology that's been used to build this, and Eki, who is over here as well. And we've been backed by a series of institutional investors, plus some really cool, smart people on the wider team. That's my LinkedIn, but I'm going to show you the demo. As I understand, I want to show something. I think I have time. So it is here. Awesome. So as I mentioned, it's really about shining a light on people who are actually investing, not just talking about it. So the way founders will use our platform is, let's say that you are a business in, I'm going to take something super specific. I'm going to go with recycling. So let's say I'm a sustainability business in recycling. I'm going to apply this filter. I'm going to search for investors that, I don't know, maybe they've invested 5K and above. And so what this will show me is a list of people that sell along. That looks like a sustainable clothing business, and then you've got climate tech down here. I can reach out to, let's say, Henry and say, hey, Henry, I saw you invested in Sell Along. We're building something very, very similar. Would love to share what we're doing. And that works. So we have, I'll just go back, add me on LinkedIn. We have worked with, I think, 450 founders now have used it to find angel investors, raised, you know, it's definitely well into the millions now. We don't track it exactly. But yeah, my ask is if you know founders that are fundraising, send them our way. Yeah, thank you very much for listening. Happy to take questions.
Rob, I will start with Christina. Short one.
So, how live is your data?
So it's in real time. So every time a company publishes a release, we're first to it. So we're tracking it. So it's fully automated. We don't intervene at all. So it's a database of, I don't know the exact number, but it's over 500,000 investors now on the platform.
And then any questions from the room? Lots of questions.
Do you want a mic?
Fine.
All right.
So what do you find the data? Because you can find a cap table of a company just when they publish the confirmation statement for the name.
Yeah.
And the number of shares, but you don't have the value of the candidates.
It's a fairly complex ledger system. So you do have the data, but they're in disparate documents. So we get two different document
But
types.
you find it.
It's in company's house.
Yeah, but you don't tell you the amount. They tell you after 2 years, the number of
Yeah,
shares.
so what you're referring to a confirmation slip, so that's a list of all the people who hold shares. If you do a funding round, you also have to declare how much you, like what your price per share was. And then if you use a ledger system, you can calculate all of it. So the data is there, but no one's really done the maths to make it all work. It's not immediately obvious. There's no chart of like this guy invested 25K or she invested 50K. You have to do a bit of technology to get around to it. Yeah, exactly.
It's a brilliant idea. Maybe today somebody will let you what are you looking to raise is 1%.
So in terms of revenue. Yeah, so we have a mixed pricing model. So we charge about £100 a month for access. And then we also run outreach campaigns on behalf of founders. So we charge a lot more for that, obviously. But that works really well. Longer term, like I recognize that selling to founders like does churn because not everyone like is always fundraising. So they can also use the data. We've got data on companies as well, so they can use it for business development and things like that. But yeah.
Sorry, what is your turnover?
Oh, turnover. So we're doing about 250K revenue.
How much are you?
We are fundraising, but we're not. I'm not here to try and pitch. No.
Anybody else?
Are you taking a percentage of any of the fundraising?
No, we don't. We could do. That's a model of some other people, but we don't.
Yep, gentlemen behind.
Are there any GDPR sort of strings to contacting the agents?
It's all down to the founder. Ultimately, like the founders are always doing that outreach. Like we're really just reflecting what's publicly available and sort of enabling people to use that.
What do you?
How do the investors feel about it? Are they able to remove themselves from this?
They're not able to remove themselves from their space. That's the beauty of this company's house. That's sort of the whole open model. Most investors like it. I think it depends on how the founder's reaching out, what they're saying. But for example, I've received angel investors who were so impressed by it that contacted the founder and said, "Where did you get this? Because this is pretty cool." And then they've ended up investing in our business because they were like, "Well, like that's awesome." So you're going to get one or two who are like, "I didn't know I was there," and they're annoyed by it. But that's, I would say, like, we see that very infrequently. It doesn't mean
Gentlemen.
Oh, that's great. Fascinating idea. Just curious to know what do you think is like the next phase of the next product? What are the features that you like to add to this?
Yeah, so at the moment it kind of grows very organically. Like founders, if they like it, they refer. If they hate it, they tell people too. So founders are interested in wanting to sell to. I haven't quite told the whole story here. Like we also help work with big enterprises to help them structure financial data from the same kind of docs. So we do have like large enterprise clients that we're kind of building relationships with. So that's I suppose a mixed revenue.
Okay, what's that question?
Yeah, so two questions. One is, if you're relying solely on public data, what's your defensible mode? And second half is, where do you go from here product-wise?
Yeah, so I suppose in terms of moat, I mean, this platform's have been live for 2 years and no one seems to have copied us yet. So that tells me it's pretty difficult to do because it's kind of a no-brainer, right? But like nearly 500 founders have paid to use this. That tells me it's something good about the data. It works. Maybe someone will figure out how to do it. It's quite a gnarly little problem. Like you've got to really dedicate quite a bit of time to it. And I think most people just can't be bothered. Like, frankly, I do genuinely think startups like there's a can you be bothered to sit there for 2 years and build this stuff? Like most people just can't be bothered. So I think that's a big part of it. In terms of where the product goes from here, so we built a wider data. I haven't showed you the whole thing, but we built a wider database of millions of companies. And what that does, that's financial data, cap table data, all of that kind of stuff. And so we're now leveraging that technology to help big enterprises to understand the companies that they invest in or they lend to. So if you're a bank like a Barclays, they've got tens of thousands of companies that they lend to, but they don't really have the data on. because it's all unstructured, they can only capture a certain amount. So we're the brain that allows them to do that. So that's kind of very, very defensible because our algorithm is probably the best on the market for this kind of stuff. And that, you know, again, I think we're probably at least 2-3 years ahead of any competitor getting near this kind of stuff. And maybe they will, but yeah, that's sort of where.
Okay, one last question.
Great presentation. Thank you very much. Do you offer like an angel investor module as well? Me as an angel can look in and find your startups, or no? It's not part of it?
We've been asked that, and a couple of angels have bought, you know, paid for a license and used our platform. But I would say our experience there is that angel investors aren't really looking for, like they tend to prefer the deals to come to them rather than actively join. That's the whole reason why two-sided investor marketplaces don't work, because you like if an investor's opting in, it's like they're suddenly bombarded by startups, so it can be quite imbalanced. We thought about it, but I think it's a good point. Maybe we'll figure out a different offering.
Thank you.
This is a really good segue into the next one, actually, because in order for you to get investors, you need to get your ducks in a row, and which is just what I Sas is going to talk to you about.
I can try. Put my Pomodoro here, if I will have time to watch it. No. Hello, I'm Sasha, and I am a founder of Visionary Labs, and we are all about investability of startups. So before you go into the fundraise, or in some cases, we are actually helping companies in the middle of the fundraise as well. You can come to us and I think this as well. First, what we are asking for, I am currently here to talk to investors and get introductions to other investors to get feedback on our first part of what we are launching into the market. Where we have some different ways we are introducing into the fundraising processes or preparing startups for the fundraise, and I am here to get feedback in one of the areas and talk to everyone about all the other things we are planning to introduce. So I want to get a sense how digestible it will be to investors, and how easily we will be able to adjust the way how fundraising works, and hopefully in positive manner. So what we are a hybrid accelerator and venture studio with integrated fundraising process. We provide programs, which are highly personalized for every single startup who is coming on board, and the support is ongoing. So if you come as an ideation startup, we take you through feasibility program, and then you can continue for profitability or investability into the pre-seed. Then seed, we have almost ready to launch Series A program as well. So it's ongoing support that allows the company to work on their business and have everything ready for them on the other side. So it's through the program, very much focused on the investability. So we have platform behind it for scalability, for precision, for being able to present the startup the right way. It's all data driven. We have ratings for the startups. We know every single startup in depth before they come in, and we know exactly at their situation what is the best solution for them to come on board and get support. So startups get just few things from the whole ecosystem, which feeds into each other. But the startups get highly personalized program, ongoing support and fundraising integration. So all is taken care of as they work on the business and pivot the right way, have the support to be able to see where to focus, how to adjust everything and keep going in the right direction. For investors, that means that they get visibility into the startups. Visibility into the startups, long-term, building trust, and being able to actually assess the companies very well. They can see the companies when they are coming actually at a much more prepared rate than just at the fundraise and searching into how well actually the idea sits. So we want to focus on the idea more than just kind of basic questions of due diligence.
the startup, so the whole program is focused on due diligence. So as the company is going through the program, they are building their own data room and readiness for the fundraise. And with the results of all of that means that companies who are supported by our program perform better in the portfolio. So improved portfolio performance, easier diversification, and lots of other benefits for investors as well. And experts love it because we have top-level experts who want to work with companies who are ready for it. So highly committed startups who are ready and really focusing on the program as they go through. Now, this is my team currently. That's who we are. Me as a founder with the concept, with the structure, and building up everything in the way that it's going to work. I have technology support, risk and compliance, investor relations, people from background in accelerators, venture studios, venture builders, venture capital funds, and so on. And advisory, this is one of our experts who is also my advisor, serial entrepreneur, that's highly experienced, and he's focusing on sales and scalability of the businesses, checking the feasibility of companies when they are coming in. Support for scouting and startups onboarding, and a lady, Lamia, coming soon to join us as well for community and ecosystem building. Now, why now? It's very hard for the startups. How far am I?
We're done.
Just very quickly, this is what I want to feedback on. It's our blueprint, which companies would be getting with their pitch decks out to the investors. Apart from, we assess them in depth, so we have rated, we know their strengths, gaps, and risks. A new pre-stage for fundraising and program. This is how our program looks like, and teams. And I will talk to you about it afterwards. I don't have time. So feedback.
Thank you for that. Alex, over to you, your first question.
Yeah, sure. Well, just two questions really, pretty simple. How do you differentiate yourself from other accelerators out there? And how do you vet the startups that join your accelerator program?
How I found them.
Yeah.
So accelerators are mentor-based. It's conversations. They have structured or less structured programs, not so personalized, and mentor-based. We are consultancy-based. Companies are working with us, like a venture studios. We are heavily involved in actually becoming part of the startup. And with that also, the higher personalization and ongoing support. It's not 3 months. You are onboarded, and as long as you grow, you can stay with us. The integration with the fundraising is different. Venture builders typically do the development, so it's more service-based, but not so much of the business. So we are in the middle in there. We do have the program, core program is about business, with industry-specific sessions for each startup, which is plugged in, and we work with the startup on those sessions to make them, to have everything ready on investor level requirements. So we become part of the business in kind of short. And companies currently, it's personal outreach because we are quite new, so we are very specific who we bring on board. It's also paid accelerator with some versions how to support financially the companies as we are growing. I can answer more in detail how that goes. That will be another half an hour. But currently it's paid, so we are specifically selecting companies who are ready to, who have the budget and are ready to either go friends and family in feasibility stage, or they have the budgets already from other investment. So that's why also fundraising integration, because it helps companies to de-risk them and receive funding in kind of more trusted way from investors.
Cool, thank you.
More questions from the crowd? Yes, Donald?
Thank you for the presentation, Sasha. So what is the business model here, and how do you actually make money from the idea?
Currently, it's paid programs, so we are paying the experts for their work with the startups. So it's technically service-based, but we also have plans for equity, more of the accelerator approach of having, we are going to build a fund. We will be investing in the startups, success fee in terms of, taking equity during the fundraisers, as a co-investing, supporting the companies in terms of the funding for the programs, as well as from the fund investing and success fee for the fundraisers and so on. So there is larger kind of numbers of revenues with the platform, and company profiles and data room and visibility to investors on our platform as well. There will be subscription to the platform as well, because there is quite a bit of flexibility for startups to choose what is fitting them in terms of the support they need as they grow.
One last question.
Sorry.
Hey.
The slide before that is 4.6 that you came up with. How many that sounded quite good because
Sorry?
the 2.64 before.
Yes. The rating is being upgraded. We will have actually multiple tiers of rating different parts of the startup, from the product stage to team assessment to overall business direction and markets, but also the stage of their runway and how far they are within, preparation, how much work they have, so if they are behind or ahead, and so on. For later stage companies, SDG and so on. Lots of ratings, which gives very in-depth knowledge and kind of understanding of the businesses. And from there, we build a program. From there, we kind of do at least part, if not a lot, of due diligence for the investors already as a part of the program itself.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So let's go to voting. So please do vote if you get it, if you would use it, if you would invest in it, and if you would recommend it to a friend. And then the next one is called Steelo. So Ed, come over. Sorry? Yeah.
Hi, everyone. My name is Edmund. So I'm the CEO of Steelo, founder and CEO.
And my name is Ravi, and I'm the co-founder and CEO of Steelo. So why do people need Steelo right now? So musicians in today's age are really struggling. They go through three main problems which they have. The first being monetization. Only the top 1% of musicians actually control 99% of the market. And in fact, on Spotify, you need 6 million monthly streams to even have minimum wage. The second is discoverability. A lot of social media platforms are really trend-based. They fully focus on prioritizing and establishing. Oh, sorry, guys. Sorry, guys. Stu only gave us today to kind of pitch it. So discoverability on social media is very trend-focused. A lot of smaller musicians and medium musicians, they don't know a lot about SEO. They're kind of struggling getting out there. And the last one is ownership. For musicians to kind of proceed in this day, they need a record label backing. But what does that cost them? It costs them their whole royalties, it costs them their masters, and they kind of lose all the ownership of their music.
So this is what we come into play. So we are building a platform, which is basically a social media app that helps musicians turn their fans into supporters. And the way we do that is through Steeds, which is basically a tokenized way of tokenizing a brand in the community. So we're creating a new way to quantify and reward support. What actually is generated through that is you have 500 Steeds per creator, which start at the price of £30, which is more or less the minimum price for merchandise. And this is basically generating freedom, like Ravi said, ownership and the ability to promote the content that you want, as well as stable monetization. Inside the trade is music streams take about 3 to 6 months to be paid out. That's instant, it's transparent. On the supporter side, you also have a community, which is toxicity free, and you actually get to interact with people who genuinely want to support you, as well as organic algorithm. So what I mean by that is an algorithm that doesn't force you to chase trends, but rather supports you to promote your content to people who actually want to see it.
Yeah, just a bit about us. So me and Ed actually met in our masters at Cats Business School of Bays now, and we're actually ex-music industry where we actually collaborated. I'm a music manager myself, and was the producer, and that's how we kind of got to know the problem of the music industry. And recently, about 6 months ago, we recruited our second dev, who focuses on blockchain and backend. Abdi, he's a alumni of Entrepreneurs First, so he's very talented. And we also got Malcolm here, who's our head of front end, who over in the USA, who is currently working for Vanguard, and he actually owns his own front end business, so he's very talented as well.
So we're here asking for 150,000 for 5% of the business, of which 40% will go to business costs, operational staff. 40% will go to development, so mostly tech auditing and research and development, and the last 20% will go to actual legal fees. And now we'll show you the demo.
Which we also have available on iOS, so if anybody wants to have a go on it, just please let us know and we'll get you on that.
So put it simply, the app breaks down into 5 features. I'll walk you through them. The first one is a content feed. So it's a little bit like TikTok in a way, whereas you browse horizontally to go from creator to the other, and you browse vertically to go to the next creator's piece of content. Here, when you buy the token for the creator, you get access to exclusive content, which can be also collected. You then have the marketplace, which is where you would find the creators based on your taste and on what's trending, and you get the ability to support them. You then have the village, which is basically group chats. So you get added to the community chat with the creator the moment you buy the token, and you get kicked out when you sell it. And you obviously have your private chats. You then have your profile, which is where you would be displaying the content that you own, the fees that you have purchased, as well as community rewards, which are basically airdrops. And finally, we have the gallery, which is more the kind of like financial insight, where you get all the information on your investments, as well as direct insight into the tokens that you own. And so that's the app. Thank you for your time.
Sorry, Dom.
Thank you for the presentation. So, what's the underlying tech stack? Is it based on Ethereum? And I guess what dictates the movement of the tokens? Let's say someone pays £30 to interact with the content creator. What dictates that movement of price?
So the tech stack, I'll get a little bit boring on that one. So we're working with Firebase for the back end, we're working with Flutter for the front end, and working on Polygon ZK EVM for the blockchain. We've built our own smart contracts, so we're relying on Uniswap as well as Safe for trading and Safe smart accounts, so for your wallets. And the pricing is actually built out. So it starts with a pre-order of £30, which is the floor price, and it starts with 250 tokens. So people will be bidding for the initial 250 tokens, and every time the 250 market determined. And after that, we then launch the token. You have 250 extra tokens minted at the same price, and then finally it trades on a P2P basis. So like, like a normal stock exchange in a way. So you would have limit orders, it's a limit order book, and the pricing is averaged out.
Thank you, both of you. Great presentation, particularly I think it's a bit last minute. Do you have any, is it live yet? Do you have any users?
So what we have is the alpha is coming out in a month. The beta will come out 3 months after. We have, as of today, all the creators that we showed you are already working with us. We have about 25 creators. And for the alpha, we're hoping to have 500 creators. We do have a version of this that can be, like Ravi mentioned, it can be downloaded on your phones, Android.
Francis? Yeah. So the question I want to ask, like, since your platform's fast supporting creators, being able to get the content and get it saved to your account, what separates it from Patreon?
So Patreon is a subscription, so that means that it's a sunken cost. So at the end of every month, you're going to be spending £5, £6, £8. Whatever you get from it is what you subjectively believe is the value for it. Here, technically, you get an asset that can be sold at any point. And in addition, because it's blockchain, a fraction of the value from every other resale of the token that you own will be distributed to all the fans. So basically, as a creator, you're getting paid off every single time.
Stock market position. I would like to
It is actually crypto. But we actually try to abstract it away so people should know how to use it, shouldn't know anything about it, and the creator should be able to mint it without any knowledge.
I just had a second part to my question. Given that nobody's actually transacting on your site yet, how do you get your £3 million valuation?
So we already have had investment. Recently, we secured £33,000 for 1.3% of the business, and the rest is actually valued based off of how many creators we're expecting to have and how many we have today.
So our cash flow forecast showed that on average, Steelo will take home £3,020 per musician per year. So obviously we have 25 plus a multiplier times ad what we invested that way.
You asked?
So what is your go-to-market strategy?
So right now, we're actually prioritizing getting musicians. There's a higher awareness of the problems, and we're hoping that they'll be able to bring their audiences. We are targeting London and New York first, and we're aiming to then go for the global south, where there's a high need for this stuff.
How do you deal with the threshold of kind of demystifying? So we see any crypto wallet for most normal people that is a huge threshold. So how? I mean, this is such an interesting topic, right? Because it's going to happen slowly or hopefully quickly. But how do you make this for people that are not that into?
Good question. So in line with the answer earlier of trying to make it as easy as possible for creators to mint their tokens, you actually there's a system called account abstraction. So you can create a whole wallet with your email. We will manage your wallet, but not actually have the keys. Your access to your email or your social medias will unlock the access to the keys. And so you have 3 levels of security, which includes normal email access, SMS, and in-app verification. And so that allows you to make transactions on the app without having to know how it works. But for people who are actually savvy, you can explore your keys and manage it yourself. At no point do we own the private keys.
So that's third party.
We build that inside my house.
Okay, one last question.
Would you describe yourself as a fintech or a streaming service or something like that?
It's a little bit of both, to be honest with you. So technically, we're creating a new revenue stream in the industry. So there's no one actually doing something like that. A lot of people are currently doing NFTs and just kind of monetizing value through that. The way we see it is we're trying to make the whole streaming industry and record labels kind of go bankrupt so that musicians can directly create a community.
So when you see it, think of us as a TikTok for content, a Discord for community, and an OpenSea for marketplace, or merge in one.
Thank you. Please do vote. That would really, really help us a lot. And to be honest, the demo night goes so quickly and we're actually done. So again, you are in the room with so many interesting people, with entrepreneurs, with investors, amazing professionals. So please look to your right or look to your left and do speak with people. And again, thank you so much all for coming. And Stuart, please take us home. Yes.
Okay. Cool. Thank you, everybody. We really visualizing what demo night is about. The next bit is really easy, right? I don't stop it. It's still pizza left. It's still drinking. You just drink it all, eat it all, and then go when you want to go. If you want to stay a little bit longer, that's fine. But if it's a nice day to the front, it's very easy to go. That's really much. Okay?
And I think one last thing that I would like to ask from all of you, please give us some feedback. How was your experience, whether you would recommend it, and so on. We're always here to improve. Again, thank you so much.
All right.